Hi there, and welcome to another lab introduction video for physical geography. I'm your lab TA Curtis, and today we're talking about lab number 7, rocks and minerals. So the first thing that I want to talk about and bring to your attention about lab number 7 is the use of 3 tables that you guys are going to employ while you answer several of the questions throughout the lab. These tables are incredibly important, so you want to download them early and make sure that you reference them a lot. They're the minerals table, the igneous rocks table, and the sedimentary rocks table. As you look at these tables, you can see, at least in the case of the igneous rocks table and the minerals table, we have several minerals and rocks listed, as well as some factors that go into their composition, their strength, their formation processes. All of that information is available in these tables. You're going to be thinking about this, about these relationships as you answer your questions. So make sure you reference those a lot. Looking closely at the mineral chart here, we can start to see a little bit more about what's going on and think about the implications with these relationships that this table is showing. On this table, we can see 6 different types of mineral, as well as several of the factors that go into their composition and creation. As we look, we can see these darker minerals were formed at a higher temperature, are a bit weaker to weathering, and have a bit more of a mafic composition. If we look on the right side, we can also see actual physical descriptions of each mineral. These will be important here in a few minutes. The major thing that you're going to be doing in this lab is actually identifying several minerals, rocks, sedimentary rocks, igneous rocks, as you move throughout the lab. We're going to run through one of these together really quick, just so you guys have an idea of what you're trying to do here. If we look at our first mineral identification, we can see that the first one we need to identify is orthoclase. If we look at our chart here, we can't really tell what orthoclase is, but if we look at our table, we can start to get an idea. So if we look at our table, we can see that orthoclase is right here, highlighted. Orthoclase being a bit more on the felsic side, with a lighter temperature of formation and more strength and resistance to weathering. The physical description that we see for orthoclase says it's pink with long crystals. If we take a look back at our mineral identification chart, we can look at all their physical features, and it looks like we only have one that has pink long crystals. So it's safe to say that orthoclase is F. You're going to be doing this for all the minerals that you see on your lab. I'm not going to run through each of them because that's your job. But make sure that you reference those tables again like this in order to identify those minerals and rocks. Really quick, I want to bring your attention to that actual resistance to weathering. If we look at our mineral chart, we can see that the lighter felsic minerals seem to have more strength, a little more resistance to weathering. And if we look at the temperature of their formation, we can see that they're actually formed at a much lower temperature than, say, olivine. This process actually comes from this temperature directly. When a mineral has a little bit more time to cool, if you remember from your textbook and from the lecture, you know that the lower the temperature it actually forms at, the stronger its crystals are and the stronger it is to weathering in the future. A commonly known fact is that beaches, especially those white sand beaches, they're primarily made of quartz. So something you should start to think about is, why would we see mostly quartz on these beaches and not some of these weaker, less resistant materials? Another thing that I want to talk about really quick is limestone, the most common form of sedimentary rock. There's a couple questions that ask you to consider the implications of the presence of limestone, especially in Wyoming. Limestone itself is created from calcium carbonate. And calcium carbonate is strongly associated with aquatic life forms. So when aquatic life actually dies, it serves a very foundational role in the development of limestone, as it provides the materials for that limestone to be created. With this formation process, start to think about the implications of the presence of limestone in an area. What is really required for limestone to develop in an area, and what it says about an area if it does have a bunch of limestone in it, at least maybe in its history or presently. The last thing I want to bring to your attention is the last question of the lab. This question actually requires a little bit of planning and effort on your part. So I wanted to bring it up, that way you're not caught off guard doing the lab the last night before it's due. This is a question that you can't exactly do the night before. You're going to go out into wherever you're living, and you're going to identify a pet rock. Hopefully you can find a rock that's native to your environment, not something that was imported or brought in with some landscaping or something. When you find your rock, don't pick it up yet. What you're going to want to do is you're going to take a picture of it there in its natural habitat, and then you're going to pick it up and take another close-up picture of it. And what you'll do is you'll use your charts and your knowledge about rocks and minerals and their formation processes, and you'll actually identify that rock and then answer some additional questions about that rock before uploading those pictures and the answers to those questions at the tail end of your assignment that you submit at the end of the week. If you guys have any questions, or if you run into any issues, please feel free to email me or Richard. We're always happy to help. Good luck on lab number 7, guys.